Hungry to snap the losing streak, the Idaho Vandals host one of the surprises of the Big Sky, the high-powered offense of the Northern Colorado Bears on ESPN+. Happy to have you along with us from Moscow, Idaho at ICCU Arena. Chris Clayton alongside Steven Madison. The Bears with a high-powered offense. It's led by the transfer from Loyola Chicago, St. Thomas.
And he's coming off a good one versus Eastern Washington. 20 points, 10 rebounds last time out. And he has 10 double-doubles in Big Sky play and throughout the season.
He leads the team in points, rebounds, steals, and blocks. For Idaho, in his first year with the program, Julius Mims has been terrific, and he's ramped it up even more in conference play.
Yeah, he's been on a hot streak, being able to score 15 points a game in the last 6 games. But he also leads the Big Sky in shot blocks, 1.7 per game.
Hey, Idaho is going to need him. Let's take a look at our keys to the game now, presented by Jeremiah Johnson Brewing Company. Do well. Steven, what do you got?
It starts with supporting cast for Idaho, and I think that comes with D'Angelo minutes. He's only averaging 6.3 points a game in conference, where on the season he's averaging 10. So I think they need a...
As the Bears, like you said, coming off the loss on Thursday at Eastern Washington, 77-74. Maybe a little bit of a fatigue from that game and an emotional hangover from a game that Northern Colorado could have won. They were within 2 late and couldn't get the job done. And of course, Idaho is hungry after losing Thursday to Northern Arizona.
Yeah, and it's tough because you're playing the #1 team in the conference at Eastern Washington, and then now you're turning around and playing a tough Idaho team, but it's at the bottom of the Big Sky. So kind of a swing in kind of emotions and moods.
Opening possession out of the tap. It's for Idaho on a post up inside Linhart. And he's got the defense converged on him, a double team. It's 3 in the key and a turnover to start the game off for the Vandals. Starting lineups brought to you by Monarch Motel, a locally owned boutique motel at 6th and Jackson, online at MoscowMonarch.com. St. Thomas in the starting 5 for Northern Colorado. Jaron Reilly, Zach Block, Brock Wisney, and Riley Abercrombie. St. Thomas is really the star of this team, but Jaron Reilly had 26 points on Thursday and a great point guard for this Bears team. And there's a UNC turnover. And now the starting 5 for the Vandals in this game. It's a group that has gone 6-2 as the starting 5 as Blassingame goes inside to score. He has started the last 6 games, 7 in a row now for Blassingame. A boost to the starting 5 and a big bucket there.
Yeah, and we see the backdoor cut for an easy layup for Northern Colorado. But Blassingame is going to be a big part of that supporting cast, like I talked about in the keys of the game. He needs to step up and make some shots, but then also when you get the opportunities, take it to the lane and attack the rim.
So both teams with a turnover apiece and a shot in the paint. Blassingame. Here's Menace slashing inside. Couldn't get it to go. That's a guy you want to be aggressive if you're Idaho, someone you highlighted earlier.
Yeah, you definitely want to see Menace get on the right track. It's just been a tough shooting for him in the last few games, and as we see a little out of control there from the Northern Colorado Bears. But Menace he's kind of that engine of this team. At the start of the year, he was that defensive presence, that offensive presence, that leader on the court and off the court.
Head coach Alex Pribble, in his first year at the helm for Idaho, he said that Menace getting sick during the holiday break has kind of thrown off his rhythm. He went 1 for 8 from the field on Thursday, just trying to find his way again, as Quinn Dinker, who's been on a roll as of late, is able to drain the mid-range shot.
And I like these plays they're setting up. A little bit of a handoff rub action for Quinn Dinker just to get an easy 15-foot look. And those are the ones you're going to have to convert if you're Idaho.
Wisney hands it off to Thomas. 20 points per game. He leads the Big Sky. Inside down to Wisney. Mims is all over it. And did he save it off UNC? No, he stepped on the line. It's Bears ball, but a great effort from one of the most active defensive players in the Big Sky.
Yeah, very athletic and very, active on the defensive end. That was a very good effort at almost trying to throw the ball behind his back off the Northern Colorado player.
That would have been an electric play. He had 3 steals and 5 blocks on Thursday in the loss to NAU. Really off the bounce, missed it short. 26 points, nearly a career high for Reilly on Thursday in the loss to Eastern Washington. But passing is really his MO, almost 6 assists per game this year. Linhart, double teamed. Got it out to Dinker. Good look, couldn't get it to go.
Yeah, really good look. And Linhart does a good job of being patient in the post. And if he's able to do that, they're going to find looks.
And UNC back to work to block this game off. And it was St. Thomas, the Big Sky High Player of the Week 5 times this season.
And we still got a lot of time left. I mean, the 5 already, you can just tell the ability that he has, especially with his size. You think it's all inside, but he can shoot threes.
Look at Linhart on the offensive glass. Blocked from behind. Sticking with it. And couldn't get it to go. Had everything but the finish with the effort inside. Thomas wants it on a post up. He's working on Minnis. He's got the size advantage and hits it over the 5'10" Minnis.
And you can see that Northern Colorado wants to take advantage of that. Any type of switch, any type of mismatch, St. Thomas is going to get himself in the mid post. And he doesn't even have to drive the ball. He can just shoot it right over the top of D'Angelo Minnis.
Thomas, a transfer from Loyola Chicago, where he didn't do a lot. He averaged 2 points per game over 2 years. Danker able to answer with a hook shot. But St. Thomas, it's pretty incredible to see him go from Loyola Chicago, just a fringe player on the roster, to a star. I'd give credit to Steve Smiley, the UNC head coach, unlocking what he has.
Definitely. Steve Smiley's a great head coach, and it has been at Northern Colorado for a while now, and they've had some winning success there as when he was assistant as well. But back to St. Thomas, you know he had to learn a lot of things when he was on that roster at Chicago Loyola, a very successful program in itself, but now he's getting the opportunity to shine, and he's taking full advantage of it.
You hear in basketball a lot. Players, coaches talk about it. A lot of players, all they need is that opportunity. And you know, he learned a lot with that program, but he's gotten the opportunity with the ball in his hands for UNC. And he's unlocked his full potential. There's a 3-ball from Abercrombie, and just like that, it's 10-6 UNC. This is a Bears team that can really score it. They're 7-2 their last 9. Linhart looking for the answer, and he's got it.
And just a basic transition basket there. Dribble it down and flip it back to Linhart. And you give him any space, he's going to shoot the 3-point ball.
Alex Pribble said Linhart is an offensive weapon, getting more and more comfortable. Transfer from Washington hit that 3. Wisney across to DeJour Reeves, who just subbed in and is able to lay it up and in.
And Wisney does a great job of keeping his eyes up. You're getting the back down situation, but still has his eyes up to find Reeves on the back cut. Great ability by him to make that pass.
Danker, no look. Linhart, 2 in a row, rattles it through, and it's 12 all.
And I think you said it right. I mean, Linhart is a high-level recruit, had a chance to go to UW, and now he's getting in that comfort zone of finding himself on this Idaho team on the offensive end.
Reeves, floater, got his own rebound. Unselfish to Abercrombie, missed it though. Mims pulled in the rebound. Idaho 2 of 2 from downtown on both the Linhart 3-ball attempts. Danker trying to give it to Mims, taken away by Wisney. Thomas, Abercrombie lays it in.
Good physical finish there by Abercrombie, keeping the ball high, has a lot of defenders coming in, but keeps it high and scores it. And on the other offensive end for Idaho, that last possession, I'd like to see Quinn Danker throw the ball up high, let Julius Mims use his athleticism.
And we've seen him all year. He can just leap off the floor. Doesn't matter how much momentum he has from standing still. Linhart, physical drive, blocked by Thomas. And out of bounds. Good action back and forth. 14-12 UNC. Both these teams shooting better than 50% from the field. It's the Bears on the road with a 2-point lead here in Moscow. In Moscow, or Tyler Linhart, the #1 rated recruit out of Kings High School in Washington, is coming into his own, transferring from Washington and starting to score the ball. 2 threes already earlier in this game, Steven.
Yeah, that's a nice one there. Tucked in the corner and with the defense in his face. But Linhart's a scorer, 43 points in a game in high school. You know he has that ability, being the #1 recruit. Now it's about finding his shine and finding that moment. Kind of like we talked about with St. Thomas coming from Loyola Chicago. It's the same situation. You don't get the opportunity to play at the college you're at before, and now you're getting that opportunity to be a vocal point on your team.
Alex Pribble called him an offensive weapon that's getting more and more comfortable. The redshirt freshman averaging more than 8 points per game, already with 6 in this game. Out of the timeout, there's just 9 on the shot clock. Inbound Danker looking for Mims. Thought about throwing it up, but holds back and goes out to Frank. Now Mims wants 3 and drills it.
And Julius Mims, He started off the year very slow from the three-point line, but now has started to pick it up, making some more threes in games, and it's just adding to the threat of him on the court on the offensive end.
How about 55% from three for Mims the last 8 games? Not often you see a combination as there's an offensive foul called against UNC on the drive inside by Langston Reynolds. I mean, the athlete that Julius Mims is, and he can shoot the three, a very unique and special player.
Yeah, definitely. And then talking with Alex Pribble early on in the season, Mims was shooting about 25% from the three-point line. And even talking to Pribble, he was like, hey, this guy can shoot it. We have trust in him, and they've instilled that trust in him, and it's only grown throughout the season.
And he just subbed out, replaced by Kyson Rose. On a post-up, Frank working on Thomas. Goes right, not able to finish. It seems like they're attacking St. Thomas. Maybe they want to get him in foul trouble, but he hasn't committed one yet.
They're trying to, but St. Thomas is a very smart player, and he's going to stay down on these shots and just make the offense score over the top of him. Very good defense there by him.
Really out to Reeves, who hits the three. The three balls are falling. Both teams with 3 made triples on 4 attempts.
And you can see why this Northern Colorado team averages 81 points a game. They're going to get out, and they're going to get the ball up quickly. And if they find an open shot, they're going to take it.
Well, they've got a lot of different weapons, too. Steve Smiley's team, top 40 in the country, scoring the ball, 81 a game, like you said. The 3 off the mark by Trayvon Blassingame. Here's Reilly. Lost the handle. Lob inside. And a foul called on the pass to Abercrombie. This will be against Kyson Rose. Rose has been in the starting lineup at times this year. 6'9", 245 junior. Reeves, miss. Now out to Thomas. And a rebound for Denker.
Yeah, and Idaho fell asleep there on the out-of-bounds play, leaving a wide-open three-pointer for Reeves, and then almost compounded that problem by giving up an offensive rebound, but lucky to get out of that possession with the ball and no points scored.
On the right side now, Frank off the mark, and a one-hand rebound by Thomas. Well, Idaho's lost 6 games in a row, 8 of their last 9. You can really feel the desperation and hunger from this Vandals team. Not about effort, it's there. Just trying to get on the right track. Foul called against Idaho.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, they have focus and energy and effort, but now it's about putting it for 40 minutes. They're able to do it very well in the first half, but have trouble getting into that second half.
They are trying to lean on that defense to keep a minute, but a pretty high-powered offensive showing so far. 17-15, under 12 timeout in Moscow. Northern Colorado with a 17-15 lead over Idaho. The Bears trying to bounce back from Thursday's loss at first place Eastern Washington. What a job Steve Smiley has done as head coach of UNC. This is a Bears team that lost their top 3 scorers from last year, including Dalton Knecht, who averaged 20 a game and now is a star at Tennessee. And he's able to reload with some transfers and player development, and UNC finds themselves in the mix for a conference title again.
Yeah, and we talked about it before the game, is that the Big Sky Conference now is a kind of a loading zone for some of these bigger conferences and teams. And for him to lose 3 of his top scorers and then reload and look at what he's put together with this Northern Colorado team so far is very good.
Reynolds goes 2 for 2 at the stripe. You got to think it's an attractive place to transfer to in Northern Colorado, though. It's got to be fun. I mean, they're an offensive team. They got St. Thomas transferred from Loyola Chicago, and their point guard Jaron Reilly from Samford. I mean, Steve Smiley's system and scoring points and running up and down got to be attractive for a player.
Yeah, anytime you get the opportunity to have the green light and score a lot of points, it's very fun and exciting as a player for sure.
But they had to reload from Connect, and they lost Dalen Kuntz, Matt Johnson, their top 3 leading scorers, and they're back. Taryn Frank chiseling out space and scoring inside.
And that's another guy for Idaho, Taryn Frank, that needs to be a little bit more of a bigger role and provide some of that scoring off the bench as Reeves gets an easy backdoor cut and a great pass.
Yeah, Frank has had an interesting career so far. It's his 4th coaching staff of his young career. He's just a junior, but starting at TCU and then Vanderbilt. A new coach this year with the Vandals, trying to find his way in college basketball. As got it in the corner now. Three ball, in and out, deflected out of bounds. No, it stayed in. It's Reeves for UNC. Reynolds. Really? Thomas just rises up and drills it right over the top of Blasingame.
And St. Thomas shakes his head like someone's got to guard me out here, and he's able just to give a nice little slight jab. You give him any separation, he's able to knock down the shot.
And he's stuffed on the stat sheet. 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. Rose hits the fall-away shot. Transferred from Walla Walla Community College, played at Division II Central Washington. Up in Division I, and been an impact player this year, starting all but 5 games for the Vandals.
And they want to see a little bit more offensive presence from him, and that's good to see him get going with a hook shot as St. Thomas shoots a corner fadeaway 3. But Kyson Rose can be that physical player down low. They just want to see more of it, the assertiveness from him.
And Alex Pribble also said that he's a good passer. They like his ability to pass. He's got a mismatch. Whipped it out to Frank.
But I think that's a prime example of it right there. You have the smaller guy. Don't be in a rush. Take your time and post him up.
Blasingame off the bounce. Nice move. Lays it in.
And just a great offensive move. You make a hard, direct move. Jump stop quickly. Show the shot fake. Defense flies by. You get the layup.
Alex Pribble said that Blasingame's been a nice surprise. He transferred over from Fairleigh Dickinson. Of course, they became renowned for their Sweet 16 run last year in the NCAA tournament and win over Purdue. He was a role player, didn't play a ton. The ball's out of bounds off of UNC, but Blasingame taking full advantage of his role with Idaho this year and starting to come alive more and more recently.
And it's one of those things, again, where you're in a program that's very successful. You see it as a player. You might not have the opportunity to provide as much as you would like, but now you have a new home, and you're trying to give that full energy.
So some subs in for Idaho now. Blasingame goes out. It's Danker, Mims, Christian Gonzalez, Minnis, and Linhart in the game. Danker probing and couldn't get it to go. A lot of post-ups from Idaho.
Yeah, and Danker really likes that move, just unable to get that to finish, but I like what he's looking at. You get a one-on-one situation, he's very good in the post.
So far, UNC 56% from the field to 47% for the Vandals. And another easy 2 for UNC, that time from Brock Wisney.
And Reeves did a great job of just kind of taking his time, feeling comfortable in that pick and roll and dropping it off to Wisney, who's cutting to the rim.
DeJora Reeves making a big impact off the bench, 7 points and an assist. He got a hand on that ball too. And on the floor, a tie-up. Possession arrow points to UNC. DeJora Reeves and the Bears into the media timeouts. Having a 4-point lead. Offenses are flowing well for both teams, though, so far in Moscow. St. Thomas for UNC, 7 straight games of at least 20 points, and he's well on his way to another 20-point game with 7 early points.
Yeah, and I just like his patience and his poise. Understanding he has the height advantage, the size advantage over Trey Blasingame. Gets in that mid-post area on the elbow, and just a slight little jab. If you don't, he's going to take what's given, and he's going to take that jump shot every time.
Yeah, UNC keeping things simple and effective offensively. The Bears are shooting 59% from the field. Alex Pribble in Idaho has taken great pride in their defense and the culture they've set in place defensively this season. But tough start defensively to this game. What do you see in terms of adjustments for Idaho moving forward?
Well, you can see them now. They're playing this 3-2 zone that they like to play, and they end up matching up out of it if it goes to the high post. But trying to give a different look to this Northern Colorado team. And we talked about it. They're averaging 81 points, so it's going to be hard to slow them down at a rate that you would really like. But trying to get them under that 81 is going to be tough, and it could be the success to the game if they want to.
Really slips a pass inside, and an easy bucket for Wisney. The patience from the sophomore, able to bank in another, averaging more than 12 points per game this year.
And really just put it on a platter for him. Just nice little drop-off pass for Wisney, who's able to sit.
Couple of assists now for Reilly, and Mims is fouled inside. Head coach Alex Pribble called Mims the most electrifying player in the Big Sky. Coming over from Northern Idaho College. He's the region defensive player of the year there on a team that was 28-0 there in North Idaho. And what an incredible defensive and offensive force he's been for the Vandals this year in his first season at the Division I level.
And I don't want to say it's a surprise because Julius Mims is a good player and good athlete, but there is some surprise there. We're coming from the NWAC, and I know it's a smaller JUCO, situation there, but he's just been outstanding this year and has continued to grow, and his growth throughout the season has just been so impressive.
He's hitting the three ball at a 55% clip the last 8 games with better than 15 points per game as well. 1 of 2 at the stripe that time. Really is wide open. And it's already 30 points for UNC. They're 4 of 8 from downtown.
And that's what happens when you play a zone. If you get good ball movement like Northern Colorado does there, St. Thomas just makes the extra pass and really sitting wide open.
I really hit 3 threes in the heartbreaking loss on Thursday to Eastern Washington. Linhart. Idaho coming off a 60-point effort offensively where the offense went cold in the second half. There's a foul called against UNC. For Idaho, a tough second half against Northern Arizona, just 24 points in that second half. Look at those assist numbers. Northern Colorado sharing it well. 10 assists on their 12 made shots. Gonzalez off glass. What a finish through some contact.
Good body control from Chris Gonzalez there, able to use his shoulders to keep that separation and find that right-hand layup.
Alex Pribble really excited about the potential of Gonzalez. He said he's got a really high ceiling, could be a big-time player in the future, the true freshman. Wisney able to bank it in again, spinning to the right.
And I'm impressed by Wisney and just his awareness of where he's at on the court and finding that backboard every time he gets in the paint.
Gonzalez working off the dribble. Couldn't hit it. And a rebound for Thomas. No look into the corner. And a 3-ball. Zach Block swishes it through. It's an 11-point lead for Northern Colorado, their largest of the game. And Alex Pribble needs a timeout. The Bears taking control. They're sharing the ball. They have so much balance in this game as they have at least 6 points from 3 different players now.
And it's such a luxury. St. Thomas is able to get the rebound and bring it full court and then find his teammate. Anytime you have a post player that can bring the ball, it makes it so difficult to guard in the defensive transition for Idaho. And St. Thomas is so unselfish, as we see here. Chris Gonzalez is able to finish that. But back to my point with St. Thomas is that he's able to find his teammates in transition, and it makes it so hard to guard.
Yeah, the Bears are lethal in transition. They love to run up and down the floor and get those easy shots. They are led by 20 points a game from St. Thomas, but certainly have others who can score, as there's 2 others with at least 12 points per game. Danker to the elbow. Good look for him, couldn't get it to go. Back to Abercrombie, and UNC feeling it now to a 14-point lead.
And it starts with St. Thomas again. He's basically playing the point guard, and he's just so good at just coming off the ball screen and finding his teammates. Very impressive start for this Northern Colorado team and St. Thomas.
Ball on the floor, scrapping, diving all over it, bodies on it, a foul called against Northern Colorado. Well, part of your keys to the game, Stephen, was energy for UNC, trying to bounce back from Thursday's loss. Well, they're playing with energy right now.
Very high energy, and I know there's a foul there for Northern Colorado, but Steve Smiley's not upset with that one. That's one of those ones that they are hustling for the ball, and they know the importance of a road win in the Big Sky Conference.
Road wins have been hard to come by for UNC this year. They're 3-6 in away games, but 7-1 at home in Greeley, Colorado. Danker goes back outside to Rose. Now Rose has it. Offensive foul. That was Block who took the charge. Everything going UNC's way now as they have scored 8 in a row. And with possession. Nobody has more than 8 points for UNC. Spreading it out, sharing the ball. Thomas whips it down to Wisney. Working on Gonzalez, but lost the handle. Had a big size advantage. Gonzalez, though, was feisty defensively, forced the turnover.
Yeah, good job by Chris Gonzalez, but Wisney, you'd like to see him just be a little bit more patient. When you have those mismatches, it's about taking your time. The double team's not coming. Take your time and get yourself all the way to the hoop.
Going at Thomas again. Blasting back down to Frank. A series of moves, and finally it works out. I guess if you do enough moves, eventually one's going to work.
Yeah, and it's just back to my point. If the double team doesn't come, you have all the time in the world. Take your time, and Taryn Frank does a good job and finally gets St. Thomas to kind of make a simple mistake.
The redshirt junior from LA, he's got possession now. Numbers for Idaho. Frank to the rim for 2.
And there's some energy from Taryn Frank. Back-to-back baskets for him, and a good job in transition with the Euro step to finish.
4 in a row from Taryn Frank to give some life back and break a 12-0 scoring run from UNC. 3 ball off the mark. And here goes Danker. He's got space for 3, and it's a 7-point game.
And it starts with the defensive end for Idaho. That's 3 possessions in a row. They're able to get stops, and they convert on the other end. And so it's about the energy and the effort on the defensive end first off.
Blocked by Rose. Out of bounds, UNC keeps possession. But just when it felt like Northern Colorado was pulling away, the Vandals score 7 unanswered and get the crowd on their feet at ICCU Arena. We've got a game in Moscow, back and forth. 38-31 on ESPN+. 38-31, Northern Colorado leading Idaho. 3:22 to go in this first half. Coming up at the half, brought to you by Northern Quest and Quest Resort and Casino. Game on. We'll take a look at some of the halftime stats, scores around the Big Sky in both men's and women's side of things, and take a look at some of these highlights as well. There's been plenty of highlights. It was an 8-0 UNC run to go up 14 before the Vandals are able to break off 7 points in a row.
And it's just been a scoring outburst for both teams. We look at the stats. 50% from field goal, 50% from three-point line for Idaho, and then 62% from the field for Northern Colorado, and 54% from three-point line. I mean, it's just been a scoring display here so far in the first half.
Yeah, it's been a show for the great crowd on hand here at ICCU Arena. Up and down action. Reilly's got some space, off the mark, and a rebound for the Vandals. Trying to continue this run. Led by 7 points from Danker. He's got the ball now. Down to Frank. Big part of this 7-0 run with the first 4 points of it. Stripped away by Thomas. Ball still loose, and Reilly has it for the Bears. Carry. You don't see that called often, but it looked like the right call there.
Yeah, definitely the right call. Really just got a little overzealous there and gets a carry.
Well, it feels like if Idaho can force some turnovers, that'll help. This Northern Colorado team is very comfortable at this pace, but a couple turnovers now the last minute or so. Rose on a post-up. He's working on the defense of Hughes. Frank wide open, buries it. Steve Smiley put his hands on his head right when the defender left Frank. He knew that they were in trouble.
Well, and that's what happens when you have a big-to-big or forward-to-forward ball screen there, where Kyson Rose comes and set the ball screen for Taryn Frank. There's a little bit of miscommunication on the Northern Colorado side, and they leave Taryn Frank wide open.
There's a foul against the Vandals. It's a 10-0 Idaho run, and 7 of the points are from Taryn Frank. Just see his potential. He missed last year with an injury, played just 6 games. One of the few players to come back on this Idaho roster. Only 2 returning players that played last year are back for the Vandals. The rest of the roster either graduated or transferred. So Frank believing in this program, and it's paying off for Idaho. Reynolds Stops, pretty well defended, couldn't force it in. Mims with a rebound. Well, if you're Idaho, you probably wish this half was longer. There's only 2 minutes to go, but they have all the momentum right now. It's the zone of UNC. Frank feeling it. Couldn't finish.
Yeah, it's a good look there by Frank, able to isolate St. Thomas, but just unable to convert it as we see St. Thomas get all the way to the rim for an easy right-hand layup.
And that's the answer UNC needed after 10 points in a row from Idaho. Thomas, their go-to scorer with 9 points in this first half.
And those are the type of plays you make when you are their leading scorer and you do things for this team as Terran Frank gets another open three and able to convert it. But when things are going rough for you, you got to look to your star player, and that's St. Thomas.
My goodness, the go-to player right now for Idaho, it's Terran Frank. 10 points the last few minutes, 12 overall for the half. Really lost it, another UNC turnover. Denker ahead to Gonzalez, and he lays it in. It's a 1-point game. ICCU Arena to its feet. A 15-2 Vandals run. Timeout, Steve Smiley.
And Chris, it starts with the defensive energy for this Idaho Vandal team. They've been able to string together some stops, and it's led to transition points. It's led to fast break points, and it's been a very good job from Idaho in this last little stretch.
The Vandals, losers of 6 in a row, hungry for a win at home, found themselves down 14, and man, have they responded, forcing another turnover.
Exactly, and Terran Frank does a good job of stepping up on the ball screen, creates this turnover, and Quinn Denker always has his head up and finds Chris Gonzalez for the easy layup.
Gonzalez making an impact off the bench, but as you said, it was Denker who set it up with his 3rd assist. Denker's just been such a catalyst for the success of Idaho here this season. Transferred over from Division II Cal State San Marcos, and what a get that was for Alex Purble. He said Denker off the court just has unbelievable intangibles as a leader, and the energy he brings. You know, he averages 12 points per game, which leads the team, but Purble said his value goes way beyond the stats.
Yeah, and you can see it in Quinn Denker, like the seriousness that he takes to his, basically as a job as St. Thomas loads up a three and unable to make it. But he's so serious all the time, and that's about wanting to be successful and make this team a winning team. And I think that's what's led Quinn Denker to be a leader of this Vandal program.
Yeah, and he's come alive even more the last 10 games, averaging 14 a game. He gives off to Frank for the lead. Oh, short. Frank was feeling it from downtown with 2 makes in a row. Couldn't get that one to go. And UNC can hold for 1 shot now in what has been a entertaining first half of action. Last year, these teams played on this floor. It came down to 84-82. Idaho had the win. We're on pace to be right at that. Thomas, what a shot off the dribble. 1 second, a heave. Blasingame nearly banked it in. Wow. Whew. What a half of action.
Yeah, just unbelievable job by Northern Colorado to finish off that half with a good shot from St. Thomas, and Idaho to battle back in that second part of that first half. We got a good one on our hands.
We got a good one for sure. Idaho and UNC, up and down action. The scoring is there, 43-39 UNC.